Good afternoon. This is following up more from the last episode. Just sticking with the topic of narcissism for a few days here. So, question came up after I filmed the video. Someone had asked, why is it that, like, your friends, your family, how come they're not warning you that this person is such a bad person, like a narcissist? Why are they not? Why is nobody telling you? Why is nobody warning you? And it's a very good question, So why, it's this feeling once you're discarded by this person, or you distance yourself, you break it off, and you realize you've been manipulated the whole time. The question comes up: well, why didn't anybody else see this? Well, it's a good question. And so here's why. The couple of things. Well, for one, cluster B personality types since all they know is manipulation, since manipulation and power in a relationship is the only thing they have because they're incapable of having real human connections, they are very good at it. Okay, where you're trying to develop your ability to have real human relationships with people as you grow up and grow older and develop, they've been learning how to manipulate better. So they can be very, very good at manipulating everybody around them and you, of course, right? So other people around them might not see it because of the masks that they put on. But it goes a little bit further than that too, because you might be asking people, is this right, or does this sound right? Or when a narcissist does something that's not good to you, the question you might be asking for advice, like, why, is this seem right to you, or whatever, or and the reason people aren't going to say, well, she's a narcissist and that's why, or she's a sociopath. That's usually not the first answer. Now the reason is because normal people have a hard time recognizing or believing that there are people out there that are like that are sociopathic anyway. So you could tell them all these things and they'll go, well, I don't know. So unless she is killing puppies, you know what I mean, or whatever, unless she's doing something real serious, they're not going to want to say, well, yeah, she's a sociopath. That's why that happened, So they're not. You could give the entire backstory and people won't even believe it, because unless they've experienced the level of manipulation of someone with a cluster B personality disorder, unless they've experienced that themselves, it's hard for them to understand or really grasp it. Plus, a functioning sociopath is not. They're functioning, so they're not in prison, right? So they're doing things that might be reasonable or understandable in another circumstance. So somebody who's, like, let's say, legitimately hurt by something you did might avoid your communication or pull away. Whereas a narcissist is doing something to cause a reaction, so then you react, and then they act hurt by that reaction and withdraw love as a manipulation tool. You see what I mean? So, like, they're orchestrating this entire event, whereas a real person might. So, like, here's an example. Let's say, you have an issue with something, or you have a concern, and you get angry or upset with her over something, and then maybe some weakness you have or insecurity, she hits that weakness or insecurity, and it causes you to get angry or upset. Not that you're abusive or that you cross the line, but you get angry, you're upset, you want to talk about it. And then she gets upset and then, calls you a bunch of, blames a bunch of things on you, and then pulls away, and then stonewalls your communication. Let's say that that's the chain of events. And so you're getting advice from someone. You're saying, man, I got upset because she did this, or because this happened and I got upset, and now she doesn't want to talk to me. And so the person giving you advice might go, well, they're focusing on the fact that you got upset, and they're focusing on your weakness or insecurity. What is getting ignored is that she's doing something to cause that weakness or insecurity to come up, and then she's intentionally causing that that blow up, or for you to get upset or to have that thing, and then she's now, saying, well, why are you upset with me? And then avoiding communication. It's orchestrated in order to gain power over you in the relationship, whereas a normal person, might do something, or might pull away from you because you got upset, because they're upset. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's difference between normal. The motivation is different between a narcissist and a real person, all right? And so it's sometimes hard to, and people make mistakes. People, avoid communication, or they get clingy or needy or attached, or, you have arguments. I mean, arguments happen between regular functioning people, you know what I mean? And so, but it's the motivation behind that stuff. A narcissist is trying to strip your power away into that, in that relationship. And they're doing it by either playing the victim and being passive aggressive, or they're doing it by being the aggressor, And so you are, so the main thing is, I'm kind of all over the place today, I know, with my thoughts on this, but the main thing is you're filtering. So when you're talking to your friends about your person that you're with, that presentation of that person is being filtered through you. You went through a love bombing stage in the beginning where they bombed, where they were paying close attention to all your triggers and fabricating a soulmate for you. So they're making themselves into this person that they're not, but that this person that you'll fall in love with. And they did that to you for a bunch of months. And so they dragged you in with that, and they hit all of your little triggers. If you have a need to take care of someone or somewhat codependent, they found a way to hit that trigger and be a person who needs it. If you got people calling my phone now. I can't freaking do anything around here today. But anyway, I forgot to put it on do not disturb, but whatever. So if you they're finding ways to to fabricate that soulmate for you in the beginning during that phase. And then it's the devaluation phase where they're stripping you down. So when you're being devalued, and they're doing things to manipulate and take your power away, you're asking for advice, but you're doing it through the filter. So like, someone might say, that doesn't seem right. You know what I mean? Are you sure they're not just really selfish? And then you'll answer, no, she definitely is not selfish. I mean, in the beginning, she did all this stuff for me. She would come over, she would do this, she would do that. You defend the narcissist to your friends, to your family, and to people because you were love bombed, and that's who you think that person is. You think that the person is this amazing soulmate that they created for you, when the reality is that that's a pure fabrication. It's all a lie. It's somebody that they made themselves to be so that they could be with you. You have no idea who that person really is. They might not actually have an idea who they really are. They made themselves to be somebody so that they could suck you in to this relationship. And their ego constantly has to be fed. So the higher value target you are, the more satisfying it is for them to suck you in, to get you to fall, in love with them, and then to exploit you for everything they can exploit you for. So, because remember, they don't have an understanding of how to have real relationships. So that's all they have left is power, manipulation, and exploiting people for resources. And I don't just mean money. I mean emotional resources, attention, physical, sexual, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so in the beginning, you got love bombed. And so when you're running into problems and you're asking for advice, or people are observing things and people might say things to you, you're defending the narcissist. You're saying, well, that's not really how they are, or, you're presenting good qualities that you think that they have in defense, when the reality is it's all a manipulation. You see what I'm saying? So even the things that that they may have done, that's good. Like, let's say, well, she's really a good housekeeper and a good cook, and she's really good at that. Yeah, she made herself into being a good housekeeper because that was something that, would impress you and make you happy. You know what I'm saying? But in her day-to-day life outside of you, maybe she's a terrible housekeeper. Like, you honestly don't know. You know what I'm saying? The qualities that they have, a lot of them are being fabricated for you because, so she might seem, I mean, let's just pretend that that's what you want, this, someone who'd be a really good stay-at-home mom or something, right? So she makes herself into this great housekeeper, this great organizer, great with kids, great with pets. Like, that's the person that she presents. When the reality is, you know what I mean, she might be none of those things. You know, and these are concrete things. You know what I mean? She's really compassionate. You know, she really cares about other people. She'd really take somebody in. Well, these are things that she's presenting to you. They're not necessarily reality. And so what happens is, when she starts devaluing you, you had her on a pedestal, and you had her, you know, you had been spent months and months and months being manipulated and being love bombed by this person. So you defend them. So you end up defending the narcissist to your family members, to your friends, because you don't see it. You know, you fell for this person during that beginning phase where they fabricated a soulmate for you. They made it. It's almost like if you could mail order a soulmate, you know what I mean? Then you know, that's what they did. They actually they found all your triggers and all your weaknesses too that they could exploit later. They paid close attention to that stuff, and they made themselves into this person that you would fall for. And then they devalue. Then the devaluation phase happens next, where they take away all your power. Okay, but you end up defending them. You don't even know it. And then the manipulation too is very covert. Like, they're doing things to cause you to do things, and then they react to the thing that you did. That's very common, you know. And this is male or female. I'm saying a lot of she stuff because this is kind of a male-driven channel, but I mean, males do this to females all the time too, you know what I mean? And so you got to just be very careful and aware of that. But if you're wondering, if you're in one of those types of relationships and you're wondering why nobody said anything to you, it's because they really didn't see it. And you were part of the culprit in that, unfortunately, because you know, were defending them most likely, or you're sticking with them for one, but you're also presenting what you believe this person to be like, and because you were loved bombed by them. So you're presenting these good qualities that they do have, but you're just in this argument or this conflict, or they're doing this thing that's bad and you don't understand it. So you end up analyzing this person as if they're a regular person like you or I, but the reality is they're not. They don't have the ability to have real human relationships. So you're analyzing it through goggles, through a filter that's inappropriate for the situation, and you don't even know it. So it can be very deceptive, very deceiving, and very surprising, even to people around it. Sometimes after a breakup, you know, the people around you don't even understand how terrible this person actually was. They don't even get it because of the exterior that had been presented. And the last thing that happens too is that you hang on to hope. Interesting, they interviewed, it was one of the, I've read like so much stuff on this, so it was one of the many titles where they had interviewed a sociopath or psychopath. I'm not really sure whether a criminal or not, I couldn't remember, but they were able to get candid answers out of them, which is very rare. And they had asked he, I think, and they had asked him, well, why do people stay in these relationships? You know, like, if you're doing all these terrible things to this person, why do they stay? And the answer was, well, because hope is the last thing to die. You know, like, horror. It's a horror film right there. What the hell is that? Hope is the last thing to die? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, you know, like, it's psychotic, right? I mean, that's horrifying. That's horrible. But that's what they bank on. They bank on your hope. So they did that entire first phase of presenting that, you know, fabricating that soulmate during the first phase of the relationship. and they get you hope during the devaluation phase. It's that hopefulness that what they were before and what you had before will come back. You got addicted to the oxytocin and dopamine dump of being with that person in the beginning, and it's like you just want that thing again. And then they just give you these little doses of that here and there, and it keeps you hopeful. And they ride on that hope that you have because you're hoping that the person they presented in the beginning is who they really are, when none of that's the case. And again, your friends, your family, they won't recognize it because it's being filtered through you, you know. So you're literally filtering that reality, and that's the problem. So anyway, that's it. That's why your friends and family won't recognize it. If you were in one of those situations, don't be too upset with them because they really didn't see it any differently than you didn't see it. You know what I mean? So that's it. That's my time. I got to go on some appointments today. We'll talk more in another video. Thanks again. Take care.